Well, welcome, Marky Marks. My name is Blake, and to my other screen,
Me.
there you go.
Every,
I was gonna say you gotta
I'm
say
Will.
the name.
I'm Will Ross. I'm sorry, I was kind of focused on something else. Every time you say Marky Marks, I just think of Mark Wahlberg.
Oh yeah, well, I think that's what all of our fans are, as they're Mark Wahlberg lookalikes,
Right.
is what I'm hoping for. So, but who knows? But it is a brand new year. It is 2015. We've been gone for a few weeks. Did you have a good holiday?
I had a crappy holiday. I was sick. I work at a school. That's my day job. I'm a teacher, and so of course I got billions of diseases all month long of December, cold after cold, and then Christmas Eve I ended up getting the flu for about 3 days. And yeah, it was a crappy holiday. It got good right when my Christmas break ended and I had to go back to teaching.
Oh, oh no. Oh no. Well, we're hashtag Rawcast as we get ready to talk about Raw, the first Raw of 2015. Will's going to be our moderator for YouTube comments. If you want to comment, you're more than welcome. If you want to Twitter, you can, but we didn't put a. I don't have Will writing anything, so.
Uh-uh.
But we are definitely here. So we get ready for Raw, and for those that don't know, the last Raw of 2014, John Cena put the Authority back in power.
Yeah. A lot of people were upset. I mean, everybody knew they weren't going to be gone for long, me included, but I wish they were gone just a little bit longer. What was that? Maybe about a month absence. That was it.
Yeah, with awful guest stars. I mean, we had the computer. Seth Green was not a bad guest star, but I mean, he's a short little guy, but he loves wrestling. I'm a tall, fat guy, so I can appreciate the short little guy. But so because of that, it got labeled John Cena Appreciation Night.
Right.
Just look at that face.
Well, because that came later after he found out kind of what happened, you know?
Yeah, and we'll get into that. We will. But okay, so pretty much we were tortured for him bringing them back by showing us the best of John Cena clips.
Hmm. Uh, um,
The,
they were trying to go a humorous route with this, and it kind of worked, but at times it also made you just want to hate Cena even more for the people that already hate him, you know?
it really did, and according to the dirt sheets that our friend Caitlin and Amelia both found, it looked like the script for Raw was already completely written, and then Vince hated it and rewrote it in the 2 hours before it went on the air.
Right. Which is typical Vince, usually.
And Triple H and Stephanie all sounded like Vince.
Right, right.
Their word choice, the way they said things, the way they paused, wasn't very natural.
Not. We all know what Triple H sounds like. That was not a typical Triple H, talking style, per se.
No. And I've been talking about this with some members of our group. I've talked about it with you. It just seems like, and we talked about it with our Punk podcast. Vince really has lost his touch, even though he believes he hasn't, because he can work out stronger than anyone else.
Mm-hmm.
And I sit here and I think, okay, Vince, I love you. I love what you've done. I love your company as much as I can. But you watch something like NXT and you see something with Triple H mostly in charge.
Mm-hmm.
Would you agree that NXT is better than what we've been seeing on Raw, especially this week?
See, that's been the argument since NXT, especially for like the last year. Um, it was hard for me to agree that it was, but they are doing some pretty incredible stuff. They've adopted the changes. They are listening to fans. And really, honestly, the last probably 3 months or so, they've been the more dominant show over Raw.
Okay, now here's my part two question. Do you think Vince is watching NXT?
Oh, crap. Everybody does not think he is, but how could you not? I mean, you still own the company. How could you not be watching this show? I don't know. If he's not watching it, he is just crazy and lazy. I mean, how could you not watch your most successful product, you know?
Well, for him, he doesn't really think it's successful. It's the minor leagues, and I know, like with the Cabana podcast. Granted, it was a podcast, and then NXT is a television show. He had people write up everything, so maybe he just has a write up of what happened.
I don't know. If he really watches his audience and is listening to that WWE universe that he always says he's doing, all you gotta do is listen to one episode of NXT, and you can see that there's a louder pop, more fans are interacting, there's not as much silence in the crowd. They like that product. So if you're listening to the universe, Vince, why aren't you changing your product in Monday Night Raw, Friday Night SmackDown, and your pay-per-views?
And this is the only reason I brought up this question, because we know what the Ascension was, and now they look like that.
Yep.
Okay? Okay, so for a year, they were the most dominant tag team on NXT.
Right.
I mean, they had it down. They had decent promos, and now they come out looking like this, sounding and looking like both of these guys. And even in their promo this week, they said, well, you know, they compared themselves to Road Warriors, and they destroy them, and they would destroy Demolition and all this stuff. Basically, the only thing Vince kept of Ascension, as far as I can tell, is their butt flaps, which makes me think of George of the Jungle.
And I'm not a huge fan of their wrestling gear. I'm not. I've never really liked it. I like the team and I like the whole characters and everything, but something about the uniforms bugged me just a little bit. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. And Will, I'm going to talk for here just a little bit, but if you also want to check our Facebook group, I think we're getting some comments that route too. But I don't know. I like Ascension, but I've always been a fan of bigger wrestlers. Maybe just because I'd like to think if I ever got in shape, then maybe I could kind of look like those guys. Not going to happen. But, you know, it's something. I don't know. I don't feel like Vince really knew what was going on, and he didn't highlight them at all on Raw, and that drives me nuts. He put them against jobbers, which is basically what happened in NXT. The guy didn't even get a tag. It was a short little guy teamed with a super tall guy. He never got to tag the super tall guy. He kind of looked like a chubby Hoovatute.
A little bit. I've never even thought about that until now, actually.
I was very disappointed in that segment. It was not their best promo. It didn't really show off anything strong. Maybe that's just me. Do you feel like it was a good segment for him?
I wouldn't say it's good, but I wouldn't say it's bad. It was just kind of, I don't want to say neutral, but I wasn't invested into it.
Okay. All right. Are we getting anybody agreeing or disagreeing on what we're seeing so far?
Right now, they're just talking about how we're directly going towards the Vince mimicking.
Oh, okay. Okay, well there you go. But I don't know. I'll move on from that segment, but I really feel like there's a lot of potential because if you really wanted to, you could make this the new age Brothers of Destruction.
Kind of, yeah. I mean, I wish they kind of would have kept them the same, but they're always going to change something. Unfortunately, I just don't know what they're going to do because we haven't seen too much of them yet. So they're still kind of developing onto that new roster. So we're going to have to wait probably another month to see really where they're going with those guys.
Yeah, but we'll see if they're going to make them into the Road Warriors or Demolition. That's fine and dandy, but I don't think they really had to say in their promo comparing them to that at all because most of the younger viewers probably don't know who those people are.
And it was interesting. On Twitter, I think it was Lance Storm. I think that's who it was. He got very upset. He had 2 or 3 tweets during that promo, and he said that they were disrespecting the Road Warriors, and he was really close friends with, them, and he didn't really agree with the things they said, and he just tweeted something about how he turned Raw off, and he's not going to turn it back on. He's pissed off.
Oh, well, Lance is someone that I value his opinion. I will say right now, we'll get into our review section, but I was very disappointed that this is how we're going to represent our show the first of the year. But we'll move on to the next segment before we get what did you think of Dolph versus Bad News Barrett?
Oh, man. I think we all saw it coming because this is the typical Dolph championship run. Have it for a week, maybe 2, lose it. And a lot of times it's been to, Bad News Barrett. I think he's done it a couple times, and we all saw it coming. And then with the fact that the Authority was there that night, we were for sure, oh, there goes his belt. We know it's going to happen.
Yeah.
I won't say I'm necessarily upset about it, but it just, I kind of am at the same time because he's going up the ladder again. He's really hot. Probably the top superstar the last couple months in Survivor Series where he really peaked. And then now he lost. Boom. Again,
Yeah. Yeah.
That's been his career for the last 3 or so years in WWE.
And guys, viewers, fellow Marky Marks, I'm sorry if you're not seeing your comments on YouTube, but thank you for putting them on Facebook, which is fine too, because we can read them and I can use it on my phone. No, the Dolph thing. Okay, I understood that they were probably going to give it back to Bad News Barrett. They're building him up, though the week before, at the end of 2014, they had him attack Cesaro.
Yeah, and we all thought, oh, Bad News Barrett is going to be a face. He's going to be like Good News Barrett, but he's still giving bad news. And I was like, oh, I kind of like that idea.
Good News Barrett.
That's what I thought, honestly, they were going to start calling him, was Good News Barrett.
GMB, that sounds like some kind of vitamin for weightlifters or something. So they're gonna keep him heel, I guess, and they're gonna give it to Dolph. But was the whole point of the segment to elevate Barrett or to show who had more power, Authority or the wrestlers themselves?
And that's exactly. I think it's more. I don't think it had anything to do with putting Barrett back up there. I think it was just to establish that Authority power. I think it was pretty clear. I mean, good for Barrett. He's got a belt. Who knows how long he's going to keep it or, who he's going to defend it against and feud with. Probably Dolph if he comes back, when he comes back, I should say. But it was really just to establish that Authority power line.
Which, to me then, why even give the belt to Barrett because it diminishes his title win unless he's going to be an Authority lackey, which I don't see happening.
Right.
So I look back at it and I'm thinking, well, we could have Dolph chase it again, but it doesn't look like 2015 is going to be his year either. If this is any indication.
Yeah, it'll take. I mean, when he comes back, who knows? Maybe Royal Rumble, but when he comes back, he's got a. I think he's got another long road to go. You know, he's at the bottom of the pole again, I think. And if he wants to even, I mean, I don't think there's any chance for him to be in the main title picture, to be honest, at all in 2015. He'll definitely get up there, probably contending for, the Intercontinental belt again. But it's going to be another one of those long roads, and they may hint, oh, maybe he's ready for that, WWE World Title, but they'll never put him there, at least not this year.
And that's a shame. Because he's basically if Mr. Perfect and HBK had a baby.
Exactly. I mean, did they not watch his performance at Survivor Series? That was one of the best performances in the last 3 or so years by any WWE superstar. He stole the show, which is his tagline, He stole the show. And he does that consistently, but that night he definitely stole the show. And a month later, boom, they fire him.
Yeah. Oh, and we have some of our commenters putting up the Emperor New Groove when the llama cries about the match. And which I kind of knew because our two main commenters are very huge lovers of Dolph and his rear, but that's okay. But I'm a lover of Dolph. I could here or there with the rear, but I don't think it was just the best performance of any WWE superstar. I think that may be his top match ever.
Oh yeah, right now that is his top match of his career. I mean, he's still young into his career, so I'm sure he can top it. But the question is, when is he going to have the chance to?
Now he has had some good ladder matches, and I think he's undefeated with ladder matches. I could be wrong with that, but when I'm going into 2015, I say build Dolph, build Bad News, but some people I'm not sure how they're going to build or if they're going to build is the two former members of the Wyatt family.
Exactly. Because I'm a fan of Luke Harper. I think Rowan has some work to do still. I know some people still don't believe in Luke Harper, but I think he's got a lot of potential. But I don't know how they're going to build upon either one of those guys, especially since they're not involved with Bray anymore. What are they going to do as single competitors from now? Because we had a nice little short feud, I guess, between Dolph and Luke, but what are they going to do now that Dolph is gone? Who's next to help build up Luke Harper and Eric Rowan whenever he comes back?
Yeah, if he does, maybe this is how they kind of get rid of Eric, because I don't know if they knew what to do with Eric, to be honest. And that we'll move into that. So the show ended with sad face John Cena, which should be a meme for everything. It looks like somebody just peed in his Fruity Pebbles.
Mm-hmm.
It is my favorite picture by far, just because I've never seen him. He just looks like a little kid, and I've just never seen that before. But that's neither here nor there. So at the end, anyone that was on Team Cena back in Survivor Series was fired, which was because Big Show turned, so it was Ryback, Dolph, and Eric.
Right.
Okay. They've already been placed on the alumni pages, is what our commenters are saying, which I saw that. It's very unfortunate where Dolph is located. Did you see that?
I did not.
He's right next to Doink.
Oh, awesome.
So, but I mean, I guess that's all you can really hope for, is to be right next to the clown that everybody just loves so much. But if they're to come back, our commenters are saying that they want Dolph to come back in face paint and be a baby Sting.
Okay.
So I guess that would be all three of them as Sting Juniors.
I don't know.
Ginger bearded Sting would be interesting. I'm just saying.
Let's talk about this. Because we know it's obviously a work. They're not really fired, even though I can see them actually firing Eric Rowan, but they're not going to, I don't think. Um, they're going to come back eventually. How do you think they will bring them back? All at the same time, or individually? When? Where?
Well, they could take this opportunity to reshape all three of them.
They could. See, I got to thinking after you said the baby Sting thing. What if? Because we haven't seen Sting since Survivor Series. I thought he was going to come out and help Edge when they're going to break his neck, since obviously Cena took for his sweet time to get out there. And then I thought maybe he was going to come down, this week on Raw, having the vigilante character. He wants to put the authority into place, check their power, balance the powers. So I was expecting him to come out on that Raw, never showed up. So maybe eventually, maybe even at Royal Rumble, just to get even more, because that's one of the big 4 pay-per-views they have. He shows up at Royal Rumble and he brings those 3 guys back with him, kind of as a little vigilante stable.
I could see that. I don't think they'd necessarily have to have face paint, but we could go back to carrying baseball bats.
Yeah, maybe, go back to the old days and just have them, pan up to the ceiling and the rafters, and maybe Dolph Ziggler's walking around with a baseball bat, and then, the week after that, Eric's up there with a baseball bat or something,
That could be interesting. Or, maybe they take their sweet, sweet time and one of them becomes, they all come back as heels, or maybe they are thinking that one of them could be Ryback, could be Dolph, comes back with the vengeance towards Cena.
Yeah. I don't know. I like Ryback as a face. It works. I like Dolph either or, because he always puts on a good show, but I do like him as that more charismatic face character as well. Eric, I'm not really invested in him. I don't know what he needs to be. I think he's the one that needs more repackaging or something done with him during this off time from camera.
Well, right now, he just looks like he should be more part of the ring crew than a wrestler.
Yeah. He's out there to mop up the sweat off the mat in between commercial breaks and stuff.
And maybe that's how they bring him back. Maybe that's how they show their power and punish him, as he comes back for a job and he's Eric the janitor, and he just keeps the mask on and he just does stuff. I don't know. I would enjoy it. Our commenters are bringing up that the reason they said baby Sting is they were thinking Dolph could look like a surfer, like old surfer Sting. They were joking. But you were saying you like Dolph more as a face. I actually liked him more as a heel, as he flailed about and he got angry and he walked down the ramp and he goes, "I'll do that." I enjoyed that more, because that's kind of like the HBK when he was, having towards the end of the first run of his career, like 97, 98. I actually enjoyed that more. But okay, so we're going to just go into booking, and we can book with these 3 people. So we're going to book from what we've seen this week. Where would you put Royal Rumble? What's going to happen for Rumble?
We all dirt sheet readers, they're still assuming that the plan is Roman Reigns versus Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania. Roman Reigns wins the Royal Rumble. I think that might have been the plans, but I honestly think, I don't think they have anything set in stone yet. I think they're still pondering it. And I think it's going to be tough. I think Daniel Bryan is going to win the Rumble, and he is going to headline WrestleMania again. Brock Lesnar versus Daniel Bryan at WrestleMania.
I I don't know what they're going to do now. I am very concerned. And speaking of Rumble, so isn't it like a three-way for the championship with Rollins, or not with Rollins? Or yeah, with
Yeah,
Rollins.
they moved Rollins into the championship match to make it a three-way: John Cena versus Seth Rollins versus the champion Brock Lesnar.
Then what is he using the briefcase for? A carry-on?
He's getting double chances, and then it's not to say that he won't compete in the Rumble too. So he would have like 3 chances in one night to win the belt,
Oh my
or have
gosh.
be competing for the belt eventually. He might lose that championship match. Maybe he cashes it in, tries one more time, doesn't win it. He enters in the Rumble, and somehow the Authority helps him win the Rumble. And then it would be Seth Rollins versus Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania, which I don't think will happen, but it's basically setting him up for 3 chances to win that belt in one night.
Hmm. I don't know. I still think Rollins is. I think Rollins is going to lose all his chances except for the briefcase. I think Reigns is going to win the belt at WrestleMania. And Reigns finally cashes it in after Brock gets upset, beats the tar out of him. And then there you go.
And then
Uh,
Rollins cashes in at WrestleMania. I mean, that would be a good chance, I mean, but at the same time, I don't know how the crowd would react to that, because obviously you want the overwhelming amount of boos, but will they end? I mean, that would be a classic way to end WrestleMania 31, just coming out there and just ruining the whole pay-per-view, taking the easy road out, winning your first championship by cashing in a briefcase on a pretty much unconscious Roman Reigns. That would be a classic ending, I think, but I don't know if they want to risk it, because I think they know Seth Rollins still gets a lot of people cheering for him, and when he cashes that in, those cheers are going to be even more multiplied at WrestleMania.
it could be that. Also, kind of like when we had the situation with Punk and Rock towards the Royal Rumble. Do you think Brock is supposed to lose the belt at Royal Rumble? Maybe he's ending early.
That's something I'm also. That was like my number 2 thing. What if he does lose that championship match at the Rumble? Because no one. Yeah, his contract's supposed to go through WrestleMania, and supposedly he hasn't signed anything new, so he's gonna be shortly. He's gonna be done shortly after WrestleMania, supposedly. So everyone's assuming, oh, he's gonna lose the belt then at WrestleMania, but not necessarily. He can still compete, just not for a belt, maybe. So we could see a whole different match than what we're thinking. Maybe John Cena wins it, but maybe Roman Reigns wins the Royal Rumble, and it's John Cena versus Roman Reigns at WrestleMania, or it could be Daniel Bryan versus John Cena for the belt at WrestleMania.
It could be that. And if that was the case, I don't think Brock would lose completely clean. I could see Undertaker rising from the ring like he used to do and taking him out.
That could be true, because we still don't know what they're doing with Undertaker right now. Everyone's assuming if he is coming back, it's set in stone for him versus Bray Wyatt at WrestleMania. Which I think would have been kind of a cool idea, but honestly, I just don't know how much Undertaker has left. I would rather see him do exactly what you just said. Come back, get his sweet revenge at WrestleMania, come through the mat or something, and ruin Brock's chances, and then that's how Brock loses the belt.
And then Brock and Undertaker one last time. I would rather see that than Bray and Undertaker.
Right. I would rather see that too, because I just don't know how much Undertaker really has left in him. I mean, I'm sure he has one more left in him, but I just don't know. I'm kind of done seeing him wrestle. I would rather just see him make random appearance, maybe tombstone somebody, walk off into the sunset, get his sweet revenge just by doing that.
kind of do the Steve Austin, but maybe not be a guest referee every 3 years?
Yeah, something like that.
I would be happy with that. Okay, so we've kind of booked it, but the only one we haven't booked is Vigilante Sting.
Right. And I mean, he's not. We don't know what his contract really entails. He's only made one appearance since he's been here, and it's been almost 2 months now. I would assume he's booked for a match at WrestleMania. They need some kind of big celebrity appearance, Hall of Famer, legend. Obviously, they got Brock Lesnar. It's probably going to be there. Who knows if Undertaker will be there. But you would assume Sting's going to be there just to really sell more tickets, sell more merchandise. And if he does show up for a match there, I honestly don't know what they would be doing with him, because I was going to assume, him and Bray Wyatt were going to go at it. But I can also see the rumors of him versus Triple H, which is the main dirt sheet rumor right now. It's supposed to be Sting versus Triple H, and I think the storyline for that is perfect, but I don't know.
Well, that's the only person I can really see Sting going with right now, because even this Raw, Triple H mentioned Sting. He's not letting it die.
Right.
So I would think that's the only conclusion. Yes, I'd love to see him with Undertaker, because that's a fantasy match, but I don't think we're ever going to see it.
No.
And just for fun, because Raw was awful, we're going to give our quick reviews, and then I got a fun question for you.
All right.
So the grade of Raw.
Wow. It had its highs and lows as usual. But the lows really just kind of outweighed the highs, just due to the over-repetitive story of authority rules this place, and we're going to show you every match tonight how we rule this place. So it kind of got a little out of hand. I love Cesaro and Tyson Kidd, being out there as part of the Entourage party group. That was pretty awesome. But overall, I would give this Raw, the first Raw, the only Raw of 2015 so far. Oh, man. I'll just give it a 5 out of 10.
So, okay. So, that's a D, yeah?
I think that is a D.
or maybe that's an F. I can't
It's
remember.
the borderline of D and F.
Yeah, that's an F. That's an F. Okay, I would give it. Oh man, it was so bad. There was only just nuggets of good, and I don't know if it's because it's 3 hours long. If Vince wrote it before they went to copy, I don't know. But I was seriously ready to flip over to Gotham, and that's not even that good of a show.
No.
And I love Batman. People are saying 1 out of 5. Well, we were saying out of 10, but okay, that works too.
It's about the same.
Yeah. Someone said 0.5. Okay. I don't know. Okay. It was bad, guys. It was really, really bad. They didn't. We've had some really good Raws. We've had some really good pay-per-views, and now we're about finally ready to give the UK the network, and we're going with Raw with what should be presented with the poop emoji.
Yeah.
It was a stinker, but so we can have some fun and we can end on a good note. Who should go to the Hall of Fame this year?
Hall of Fame. Do I have to name all of them or just like one?
Either give me one big one or just as many as you can and highlight one.
I think the obvious choice, Randy Savage needs to be in there. He's done so much for wrestling, and he's been gone for a couple. I'm not sure, when did he pass away again? Like 3 years?
3 or 4, wasn't it? 2011. It was 2011.
Yeah. So I think just to respect him and everything he's done, Randy Savage should be the head of class for this Hall of Fame year. Everybody wants to see Undertaker. I think it's too soon still. I don't like to see guys go in literally right as they retire like they did with Edge. I thought that was way too soon. So I don't think it's time for Undertaker, but Randy Savage, oh man. And I think they should put another faction in there, honestly. I would love to see another faction group in there, which kind of sucks because I was going to say the NWO, but who knows now with Kevin Nash and his little legal problems that are going on.
Mm-hmm.
But I would like to see the NWO go into the Hall of Fame as the next faction that goes in there.
Well, faction-wise, I could see NWO, but really, what I could really see them doing is DX.
Yeah. I can see that too. I still think it's maybe a tiny bit too soon for DX just because Hunter's so involved with being on TV and stuff right now. That's the only reason I would say hold off on DX and put NWO in. Especially now that they have Hulk Hogan back, you know. And Scott Hall's around. Who knows when they're going to want to put Kevin Nash back on TV. But I think it'd be nice to have the NWO back as the Hall of Fame faction.
And I think that would be fine, though there would be lots of guys like Virgil claiming to be a Hall of Famer, even though they would never get a ring. You know it would be. You know, Conan and Virgil, they'd all be buying fake rings. I agree with Savage. He would be my number one. I do think it's too soon for Taker. I do think it's too soon for Sting. Yeah. But someone else I would really like to be in the Hall of Fame. And I know this is stretching a little bit because he actually wasn't in the WWE that long. But how much he has contributed to wrestling and contributed to the health and well-being of others, I would like to see DDP in.
Yeah, I think DDP, I think within the next 2 years, if it's not this year, it's got to be next year. I think he would definitely be a good candidate to put into the Hall of Fame. And another one, which I think it's too soon, but maybe in the next couple of years that they're wanting to keep more, because they want to do a good mix of older superstars and then people we grew up with in like the late 80s through the 90s. I think one of the newer ones they could also plan on doing soon is Goldberg.
Whoa. Whoa.
That's a stretch, but I think I would like to see him in there within the next 2 or 3 years.
Goldberg. I didn't even think about that. That would be interesting, but I don't know because he wants one more match.
Mm-hmm.
Shoot. I'm not sold. I don't know. I would love to see it. I just don't see it happening. Nor would I think his speech would be very compelling.
Yeah, I don't think his speech would be that good either. So I don't know. Hopefully he can, get some good material written up before and he has it well rehearsed. But yeah, it'll probably be a pretty plain Jane boring speech for Goldberg.
Yeah, I'm not. I don't know. Though, okay, women wrestlers.
Oh wow. See, because I put my all-time favorite diva in recently, which was Lita. Man, there were so many in the 90s. I can't even remember half of them. I'm trying to think. Who would you do as far as divas go?
Because she's already gonna be there because her husband's performing, I'd say Sable.
True.
She wasn't that good of a diva, but she got the eyes to the televisions, which gave them the ratings.
Oh yeah, my dad was probably one of her number one fans. I could see them putting her there, but at the same time, you would assume that Brock Lesnar, which I guess would be good because he would be that intimidating character. I guess it would be good seeing him there by her side, when they're all sitting in the audience and they always pan out to the couples and stuff. It'd be kind of cool seeing Brock Lesnar sitting there. So yeah, Sable would be probably a good choice.
Now, I mean, there's some other good divas like Ivory or Molly Holly. Um,
Holly.
that's JR's favorite diva, Molly Holly. I don't know. But those would be the ones I would put in. Now, Elizabeth isn't in post-mortem, is she?
Um, I yeah,
Is she in already?
I thought so. I don't know. We'd have to look that one up. We should have researched that before we talked about it.
Well,
I thought she was.
it just popped in my head because if you had Savage,
That would be cool. The power couple, one of the all-time great power couples of wrestling, going in together at the same year.
yeah, I mean, granted, they divorced and she ended up with Luger while Luger was still married. But I don't know. I think that would be a fun feel good that Vince could capitalize on and people would enjoy it.
Yeah.
So okay. Well, hey, that was a good way to end the crappy Raw. Is talk
It
about the
was.
Hall of Fame. So we're good. We're gonna continue watching. People were talking about the SmackDown spoilers. Get ready for SmackDown on Thursday next week. That'll be different. Also, is TNA already on Destination America?
They're having their first episode either this week or next week. I know it's coming. And then
Okay.
Kurt Angle's supposed to have some kind of big announcement for it as well.
Did you see? Okay, I put it on a group. Did you see the graphic? It's supposed to say Kurt Angle resigns, but they didn't put a hyphen, so it looks like Kurt Angle resigns.
I didn't notice that.
Oh, punctuation is a killer. Okay, so we're good for now. We do have a question for you. If you'd like to check out our Facebook page, it is Mark Madness Theater. Tell us the top two that you'd put in the Hall of Fame, male and female, and one faction. And we would love to hear what you guys have to say. Also, you can always follow us on Twitter or Facebook. We're not hard to find. We look just like this. So there you go.
Yeah.
Anything you need to leave them with, brother?
Well, not really, but I will say Royal Rumble I always celebrate on my birthday, so hopefully Vince or whoever's really writing out the whole script for the Road to WrestleMania and Royal Rumble, hopefully they give me a good birthday present this year because the last couple, they were okay, but I really would love to have a good Royal Rumble for my birthday, please.
Oh yeah. Well, we may need you to blow out the candles before we get that started, but
Yeah.
but hopefully it'll be good. Well, thanks for joining us once again on the Rawcast. You guys are such awesome viewers. Thank you for subscribing. Even with 6, we're amazed we have 6. So we thank you for that very much. Thank you for sharing it on Facebook with your friends, and we'll be back next week. Say goodbye, Will.
Goodbye.
Welp, see you later.